Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. We would like to welcome you all to today's South Africa and Zimbabwe event on Unlearn HR to learn Agile PeopleOps. On behalf of Agile PeopleOps, me, Mariana, your host, would like to thank you all for taking out your precious time and joining us today. So, what is the Agile PeopleOps global community? Our core intent is to create the PeopleOps social fabric to harness collective intelligence and practice new PeopleOps learnings. The three core Agile PeopleOps global community attributes are connect, collaborate, and co-create. The three C's. So in this webinar, we are going to learn about why we need to bid goodbye to HR and welcome Agile PeopleOps and understand Agile PeopleOps framework, its manifesto and values. To join our global community group, kindly scan the QR code below or join using the link shared in the chat box. I would now like to introduce our country ambassadors. The first one is Carissa Plaikis. She is our South Africa country ambassador, who is an Agile PeopleOps relationship strategist with over 26 years of diverse experience. She has worn various hats from roles like People Operations Specialist, Agile PeopleOps Relationship Strategist, and Senior Scrum Master to Adept Business Development Manager. Her leadership philosophy centers around servant leadership, prioritizing empowerment, particularly for women. Armed with a BML degree, an advanced certificate in business management, and various industry certifications, she specializes in analytical, technical, and project management domains. Our next country ambassador is Rutendo Kaseke, who is our Zimbabwe country ambassador, who has close to 15 years experience in the field of HR with expertise in talent development, recruitment, industrial relations, and work study. She joined Culture Allegiance on a voluntary basis in 2021, and it has been an amazing journey so far. She has held various roles within the organization. She is a certified Agile PeopleOps Operations and Scrum Master. She has attained a Master of Science in Human Resources Management and a Bachelor of Social Science honors in Psychology, and also various diplomas and certificates in HR and labor relations. Next, I would like to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's session, Nadia Bernard. She is a partner program manager at Agile PeopleOps, an APF certified PeopleOps coach, and L&D manager at Rand Capital Coffee, Starbucks, South Africa license holder. She's passionate about people operations and learning and development. Welcome, Nadia. Before I hand over the stage to Nadia, I would like to call upon our country ambassadors to just say a few words. Over to you.
Afternoon. In South Africa, it's afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone. And good morning, good evening to all of you. So yeah, I'm just going to drop myself right in there, Rutendo. I hope you don't mind by me just taking this opportunity first. I'm going to leave the next space to greatness. So yes, like I said, welcome everybody. I'm Carissa Plaikis, and I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you as country ambassador of South Africa. It's an incredible honor to be here with you in such great company. And it's such a pivotal time for transition within the human capital space in our beautiful continent, on our beautiful continent of Africa and the world. Our business environment is ever evolving at an astonishing pace, and we're all feeling the urgency to adapt. We face unique challenges, from a tough labor market and pressing sustainability issues to the need to embrace new ways of working. So the old methods just aren't cutting it anymore, and it's clear we need to be bold and find innovative solutions. So today marks a very special day for all of us as we come together for our first ever South African and Zimbabwean webinar. So this event is not just a meeting, it's a launching pad for many exciting initiatives and the beginning of a transformative journey for all of us. So we need to ask ourselves the following questions. Are there solutions that are more human-centered and value-driven? Can we rethink how we hire, engage, train, and retain our people? And I encourage each of you to consider real-life scenarios that we can tackle using agile principles. This hands-on approach will help us address specific challenges with practical human-centered solutions. So my vision for our community is to build a thriving network of like-minded individuals who collaborate, engage, and create a safe space to communicate openly and transparently. So together we will value inclusivity, adaptability, creativity, and high performance. So imagine being part of an organization where every individual feels valued, creativity is nurtured, and everyone's voice is heard. And this is the positive culture that we aim to cultivate, a culture that drives high performance and fosters a sense of belonging and purpose. So I'm incredibly excited to hear what Nadia has in store for us today. With a vast experience and expertise, she will guide us through the Agile PeopleOps framework, showing us how we can build more resilient, adaptive, and people-centered organizations right here in South Africa and in Zimbabwe. Together, we can transform our workplaces and create a future where both our organizations and our people truly thrive. So thank you for being here today, and I look forward to our collaborative and inspiring learning experience. Thank you so much, Mariana, and back to you guys.
And I welcome Rutendo to say a few words as well. And thank you so much, Carissa, for your lovely words.
Okay. Hi everyone. I think Carissa just said it all. The last 5 minutes she had the spotlight. I know it's a thing between Carissa and myself. So welcome everyone, and first of its kind, and praying that we're going to be having more of these in the future. So I'm not going to preempt on Nadia's presentation, and neither am I going to add or subtract on what Carissa has said. So guys, I hope you're going to have a fruitful time and get to enjoy the webinar, so that we get to continue co-creating and also get continuing to network with each other as we get to unpack and be transformed from today and onwards. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mariana.
Thank you, Rutendo. Thank you both. And over to you, Nadia, to begin the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining and taking the time out in your busy schedules to be on this webinar today. I'm hoping that we will be able to learn from each other. And like Charissa and Rutendo both said, that this is the first of many of its kind, and we can only build from here. First of all, I want to say, I did say hello, but hello from a almost winter Joburg. It's not completely winter, so I don't always know what to wear, but welcome and hello. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little bit of, or explore a few things around Agile PeopleOps. So the whole focus is, how do we unlearn HR, relearn or learn Agile PeopleOps? So first of all, we're going to look at the current business reality. So what is the current landscape that we find ourselves in? What are the challenges that we deal with and that we need to overcome? Then we're going to look at, why do we need to move away from this traditional way of looking at HR to the PeopleOps way of embracing HR. We're going to also talk around Agile as well as Lean, which will bring us to, why is it important for us to make this paradigm shift to PeopleOps or Agile PeopleOps. Then I will discuss the APF Agile PeopleOps framework manifesto and values with you. And then we're going to finish up talking about, what is the value realization? What can you get out of this once you've embraced the Agile PeopleOps framework? So can you go to the next slide, please? I think all of us agree that we find ourselves in a chaotic, disruptive world. We all, in our professional worlds, we're sailing, we're trying to do what we can, but life is really not the same life that it's been a couple of years ago. It's very disruptive, it's very chaotic. So when we talk about it, the word that we use, as you can see on the screen, is called VUCA. So what we mean by VUCA is that it's characterized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So for us, if you think about this, we're in this rapid and unpredictable change in our businesses, in our environment. If we look at the data that we used to look at, the information that we used to look at, the trends that we used to look at, we can't make the same decisions. We can't use that data anymore. So there's a lack of predictability, and the inability to foresee the future and future events and what would happen. We also find ourselves in a place where there's multiple economic factors, government regulations, disruptions, and a multi-generational workforce with different needs or changing needs and changing expectations. So all of this makes our workforce, or makes the business that we find ourselves, complex. And then add on to this, we struggle to get that clarity, that understanding of what is the cause and effect. How do we then, as HR professionals, as people ops professionals, how do we then embrace this problem and make it our own, live in it? So what we can look at is that we need to look at reimagining the way that we work, right? So reimagining our work methods. If we think about COVID, I'm sure all of you guys would agree, or everybody would agree on this call, that none of us knew, or none of us expected a pandemic to put a lockdown on the whole world. And what COVID taught us is that we had to be agile. We had to embrace new technology in order for. COVID had a big impact on things like hospitality, manufacturing, tourism, logistics, and on those, that also had an effect on other industries. So again, we really had to adjust and embrace the technologies to be able to survive and move forward from COVID. But what also happened was in 2022, the world saw, or there was it was seen as a time of great resignation. So we had a lot of employees leaving their jobs in search of better opportunity. They wanted more work-life balance. They wanted some purpose or some meaning in their job, and that meant that they were willing to resign and move on. So how do we then reimagine this? How do we, if we take COVID and the great resignation time that we experienced, we still feel the impact of that to this day. But how do we then take this and design the wheel, or how do we reimagine the workforce? Can you go to the next screen, please? So one of the things that we need to do is in order for us to be able to embrace this problem, we need to upskill the HR team. That's something important that needs to happen. We need to also embrace this agile way of working, or this agile approach. And then with that will come a continuous innovation. So how we continuously work will go into that continuously improvement mode. You'll see here, Josh Bertrand said, we'll face challenges ahead, and it will include upskilling the HR team, organizing HR around agile design and delivery, and continuously innovating around employee experience, which we're going to spend some time on, recruitment, hybrid work, and the multi-generational career path. Can you go to the next slide, please? So when we say that we need to upskill the HR professionals, we need to upskill ourselves. What it also means is that idea of human resources, it's outdated. We can't look at humans as resources, but rather by upskilling, by developing them, that by growing them in our business, they can become assets in our business, assets that can give us a competitive advantage. And these assets can be valuable to us. So we are moving away from this whole idea that people are resources in our business and rather seeing them as assets. What we say is that it's for the people, by the people, and with the people. We can't do anything without the people. So what this then means is that we need to rebrand the way that we look at HR. The old human resources way of looking at it is outdated. Can you go to the next screen, please? So with this rebranding, we moved away from that human resource to people operations. So that's part of the rebranding, or in short, we can call it people ops. We can also call it human capital, and some companies such as VaynerMedia and Rocket Central, they went as far as calling it the chief heart officers or chief amazement officers. And all of this is good and well, and it sounds exciting. However, just by changing the job title doesn't mean we've done the work. It doesn't mean that we're on the right track. What we need to do is we need to change behavior. We need to link that behavior to the people operations way so that those behaviors can be translated into actions. Can you move to the next slide? So I'm sure you will agree with me that, rebranding HR means that the way that we're looking at HR, we need to move away from this traditional way of looking at HR to the new people operations way. So the traditional way of looking at HR is that it's more transactional, it's more reactive. An email might come in from our line manager that we need to update or create the leave policy. We'll sit and we'll do it. If there's a new person onboarding, we'll get all the paperwork ready, we'll onboard the person. That's how we used to working. Our ways of working is also very siloed. So we're not just siloed we don't just work in silos when it comes to the different departments, such as finance, marketing, and operations. We also have a siloed approach within HR. So we have learning and development in one silo. We've got performance management in another silo. We might have recruitment in another silo. So in that sense, even within HR, we work in a silo manner. And then we are, as HR professionals, we're usually just informed. We're just usually thought about decisions. So again, the traditional manner of doing HR is very reactive to the workforce issues. Where opposite to that is the people operations way of working. So as people operations, the emphasis would be on strategic data-driven approaches where it embraces the employee experience and employee engagement, where it looks at the organizational culture and align the HR practices with overall business goal. So we can't be strategic if we don't know what the business is all about, if we don't understand the DNA of the business. So it's important for us that if we want to be strategic, if we want to add value, we need to understand what the business is all about. So we won't be able to hire the right people without being strategic. We won't be able to help develop the human-centric or human experience career paths without understanding what the business is all about. So the people operation approach, we look at it more in a holistic view. We understand, or we look at the life cycle of an employee from beginning and to end, and we look at where can we make an impact, where can we add value to that life cycle. And as I said earlier, as HR professionals or moving to these people operation professionals, we will be upskilling ourselves, and that might lead or will lead us becoming coaches, so coaches to the employees, coaches to the leaders in our business, and also being consultants on what needs to happen and how do we have an impact on that employee experience. That is what it means moving from a traditional HR to people operations. Can you go to the next slide, please? So Offer, which is a digital marketing company, they went out, or there was a statement that they made in 2017 that said that people operations is about designing work so that you want to be there, present, engaged, and proud of what you do, right? And I think all of us on this call, that would be the ideal place for us to be, where you can be present, or you want to be present, you want to be engaging with your workplace, and you want to be proud of what you do. So companies such as Google and Facebook, they early on realized that this traditional way, or traditional calling human resources, the traditional way of looking at this was outdated. So they already went into looking at the people operation and the employee experience. So Laszlo Bock wrote a book called Work Rules, and in that he explained that, or he advocated that Google took an innovative approach to its employees, giving them the decision-making power and fostering a culture of development. And by doing that, by empowering their employees, they created more productive employees, people who are more innovative. And you can read up more on that. You can get this book if you'd like to, and if you would like to understand a little bit more about it. Can you go to the next slide, please? So this brings us to Agile. So we spoke about what are the challenges that we will face, what is it that we need to do around upskilling ourselves, but how does Agile fit into all of this? And I'm sure if I ask you, what does Agile mean to you, you would say it's something that's adaptable, it's something that's flexible. But it's more to Agile than just that adaptability and flexibility. The core of Agile is delivering value to the customers. So for us as people operations professionals, who are our customers? And I hope that you'll agree with me that our customers are those candidates that apply for positions. They are the employees that we work with every day. Those are our candidates. So Agile is about understanding the needs and expectations of the employees, putting yourself in the employee's shoes and consulting with the employees, observing, active listening to see what it is that the employees need, so that you can deliver value to those employees. So we want to develop, collaborate, be flexible, and enable our teams to quickly respond and continuously improve to processes. So that is Agile in a nutshell. Just to add to that, Agile was part of the software industry, and it was implemented in, I think, early 2000s. So it's something that comes from the software industry, but it's something that we can take that project management approach and apply it to the way that we work. Again, it's all about delivering that value to our customers. Can you go to the next slide, please? So when we talk around Agile, what works with Agile is being lean. So lean is from the manufacturing, it's more than 20 years old. And just like Agile, it's all about delivering value to our customers and that continuous improvement. But the way that we do that, or the way that we deliver value to our customers, is by eliminating and identifying or reducing any waste. So what we do is we look at the end-to-end process, be that for recruitment, be that for performance management, or maybe for how an employee can be developed in in the business, and we look at each step and see where people are waiting. Where is their waste? Where are we busy with activities that don't add value to the employee? And by looking at this, we then eliminate, we improve we improve that process so that we can add that value. One thing to note is that we're never going to be 100% free from waste, right? We work with human beings, and it's important, this is a process that will be continuous, that will go on. So as you might eliminate one waste, later on you might see there's another waste, there's another delay that comes in, and how do you then eliminate that? So it's aiming for that continuous improvement. It's not just a once-off solution. So that is what it means to be lean. If you can move to the next slide, please. Now we've spoken about lean, we've spoken about agile, and embracing and understanding that we need to upskill ourselves. In order for upskill ourselves, there needs to be a paradigm shift that takes place. As we know, change is constant, so is learning. We can also learn, and that learning can also be constant. And we are fortunate enough to have the brain capacity to learn, unlearn, relearn, and upskill ourselves depending on the environment. And this means that if we have that approach, we have a growth mindset approach. So it is a positive way of looking at how we do things. What we obviously need to understand that with this growth mindset, in order for us to achieve mastery, it will take effort, it will take dedication to get to that. So again, the first part to embrace or to start this paradigm shift is to take on a growth mindset. Then we need to change our approaches. So we need to start to empathize with the workforce. We obviously need to empathize with being logical and rational about it, but see it from the employee's point of view. See it, how are they experiencing it? And we want to add that value. We want to use that agile and lean practices to improve the whole experience, right? So once we know that we're improving the employee experience, that customer experience, we know that we're embracing the agile lean practices. So what goes hand in hand with those agile lean practices is that continuous sprint. It's those continuous feedback loops, those small, or not small, those cadences that happen so that we can see what have we achieved and where do we need to get better. What is on the to-do list? Where are we going? So that is part of what we need to embrace to start this paradigm shift. What we also need to understand is this paradigm shift is not something that will take place in one day, 1 month, 1 week. It's something that, or even it's something that will take place over time. To drive this paradigm shift is that it's a continuous. It's looking at it continuously and pushing it continuously. And we're not gonna just take on a growth mindset and will become human-centered or embrace the agile lean practices and then know that we've done this paradigm shift. It takes time to do that. Can you go to the next slide, please? This brings us to Agile PeopleOps framework. So how does Agile PeopleOps framework fit into all of this? So Agile PeopleOps framework is an elite partner of Cultural Legions, and I work very closely with Cultural Legions. We can also ask ourselves, what is Agile, like earlier, what does Agile have to do with human resources? Because Agile is a software methodology that's used project management skills to help develop the software. But if we look at agile, we can understand that it's flexible. It's that customer feedback that we want. It's that continuous improvement. So by applying this agile approach, by applying this agile mindset to the HR and HR processes, we become more responsive, we become more adaptive, and we're able to manage the people or the workforce in a better way. So we need to make this intentional shift from the old way of doing things to the agile way of doing things. The Agile PeopleOps framework has been implemented across the world in various countries. It's been implemented here in South Africa, it's been implemented in Zimbabwe. We've seen it successfully being implemented in Hong Kong, places like countries in Europe and America. So it is something that's got a big network and that works across the world. And what is Agile? So what is the certification? So what do we work on? So our approach is that we take a role-based approach in our certifications. It's not just about reading something, but it's more around role-based. We want to upskill people who take this certification to be able to apply what they've learned in their everyday life, so be able to use it. So some of the courses or certifications that we offer, the first one that I can share with you is the Talent Champion certification. So the Talent Champion certification is mostly for newcomers, people who are just starting their career as HR professionals, people, it focuses on recruitment and it's entry level, it focuses on recruitment and talent acquisition, sorry about that, and talent acquisition. Then we've got the Agile PeopleOps Specialist Program. So this would be for somebody that wants to be more of a generalist, that might not be interested in recruitment and talent acquisition. So that would be the APF Specialist Program. Then we have 2 Scrum Master programs. So the term Scrum Master comes from software, which means team leader. So we have 2 Scrum Master programs. One is a Scrum Master program for talent champions, and then a Scrum Master program for specialists. And then we also have our coaching program, which is really an exciting program. It's a program that I've gone through, or certification that I've gone through, and something that I can really advocate for. So it has been certified by the International Coaching Federation. And I just want to confirm, Mariana, will you be able to share the website with the team or the participants, just if they would like more detail on this?
Yes, I will be sharing it with them.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so that is the Agile PeopleOps framework in a nutshell. If we can go to the next slide. So in Agile PeopleOps framework, we have our manifesto. So when we talk about manifesto, what we mean is that it's a declaration of the company goals, and it says what is our intentions and what are our principles. So the manifesto that Agile PeopleOps framework live by is looking at team of teams over traditional hierarchies, having a growth mindset over having a fixed mindset, having a coaching culture over having a command and control culture, and then having a being transcultural competence over being cultural competence. So if we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive or discuss it a little bit in more detail, if you can go to the next slide. So if you think about the term or the concept traditional hierarchies, you'll agree that it has this whole pyramid approach where we work from top to bottom, where it's a clear line of command. You stay in your lane, you do what you need to do, and you don't overstep your boundaries. So what is hierarchy, what these traditional hierarchies do is they take away autonomy from the employees. They make decision making very difficult, and there's a slower response to problem solving. So people are taking longer to help solve problems. Where when we look at the term team of teams is looking at various different teams working in smaller networks towards a common goal. So what we would say is that they would have a shared consciousness where they work towards this common goal. An example would be if you have a software development team that's working on a new application, you'll have developers, designers, quality managers, and customer support managers all working together and probably being more efficient and more productive towards this common goal. What teams do is they decentralize that decision making and collaboration among small self-organizing teams. Team of teams also allow communication to be more fluid and empower people to make decisions independently, fostering agility and adaptability. And team of teams overall promotes innovation by breaking down those silos and encouraging collaboration. While if we look at the traditional hierarchy, like I said earlier, there's this clear line of authority that can stifle creativity and responsiveness. So Stanley McChrystal, or General Stanley McChrystal, wrote a book on team of teams. And in this book, he focused on how organizations can adapt in a complex, rapid changing world or environment by breaking down these hierarchies and fostering a network of small, adaptable, and highly collaborative teams. He also emphasized empowered individuals and small teams. You can, to rephrase, it's General Stanley McChrystal. The book is Team of Teams. You can Google that. There are PDF versions of it available, and I can highly recommend you go out and look into this book. Then if we can go to the next slide. So we spoke about it a little bit earlier around having a growth mindset, and there's different ways to look at it. But a growth mindset, what it can do is it can help us lead to a more dynamic and resilient workforce. While if we have a fixed mindset, it hinders individual and organizational development. So for example, if we look at performance feedback, right? If we have a growth mindset, an HR business partner or HR manager will encourage their employees to view performance feedback as opportunity for growth and development, where they can get feedback and see it as means to identify areas of improvement and where they can develop and upskill themselves. Where if you have a fixed mindset, when it comes to performance management, employees with a fixed mindset might view performance management as a judgment of their abilities. They might be resistant to feedback or any challenges, and they might see this as, they might become defensive if they had a fixed mindset or be stagnant. So it's important to embrace this growth mindset, because if we don't, it will limit our personal growth as well as it can impact the employee morale and lead to higher turnover. So this term growth mindset was coined by a Stanford psychologist, Carol Dweck. So she believed that intelligence and the ability to grow can be enhanced. So your intelligence and your growth is not stagnant. It's not what you got. You can enhance it by effort. You can improve it by effort. And you are more than welcome to go look up Carol Dweck. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. Mariana will also send through a handout in the next day or two, just to where you can, there's an assessment on growth mindset, so you can assess where are you as an individual, and do you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Okay, if we can move to the next slide. In our third manifesto is all around having a coaching culture over command and control. So a coaching culture emphasizes empowerment, it emphasizes growth and collaboration. While if we take on a command and control, it relies on authority and the hierarchy of decision making. So if you think about it, an example can be if a coaching culture in a company can be that instead of a business manager giving out orders, a manager might coach an employee through a challenging project, providing guidance, support, and feedback. So coaching them, helping them set those challenging goals, but achievable goals. So a coaching culture will foster a sense of ownership, accountability among the team members, leading to increased engagement and innovation. While if we take a command and control, there's a strict adherence to authority. An example of that would be where a manager dictates tasks and expect compliance without much room for employee input or autonomy. And what this command and control approach leads to is that lack of innovation, that lack of initiative among employees. And employees might even feel disempowered, they might feel demotivated. And I think if you take on a command and control approach, your employees might also feel micromanaged. So with a coaching culture, we can adapt to the circumstances. We give regular feedback. We help our employees grow. And this coaching culture is not just from the line manager down to the employee. It can also be the employee that can go out to its peers or their peers and say, ask for feedback, do the self-reflection, see at what can they improve on. So taking that or putting on that coaching hat for themselves. And if we can go to the next slide. So the last part of the manifesto is all around transcultural competence over cultural competence. So when we talk about cultural competence, what we mean is that this would be an individual that's effective and has the ability to work, develop, and interact with people from their own culture. Where transcultural competence would be where you're able to understand, interact, and work with different cultures. And what we've noticed, what researchers notice, is that people who takes on a transcultural approach achieve goals better and in a more respectful way. So when you speak about transcultural competence, there are 4 pillars that we need to take into consideration. So it's the 4 R's, which would be recognition, respect, reconciliation, and realization. So what we mean is that when we talk about recognition, what we mean is that somebody that has transcultural competence, they would be able to recognize the differences between the different cultures. Then respect, somebody with transcultural competence, they would respect those differences, show up in a certain way that is respectful towards it, not push their own cultural identity on top of the other person. And then reconciliation. This is where they would say, be able to reconcile the differences and work with that. And then realization is where they make this work, where they add success to the way that they operate. So just to be clear that transcultural competence goes beyond the cultural competence. It involves recognizing commonalities and differences among cultures while valuing to diversity and fostering inclusivity. Okay, so Mariana, do we have a Mentimeter at this point?
Yes, we have a Menti exercise right now, and it will be on the manifesto that you just explained. So I'll just reshare my screen in a bit. Just give me 1 second. I will be sharing a link in the chat box, and I would request you all to open that link to cast your votes. Just give me a moment. Okay, I've shared the Menti link in the chat box. I would request you all to open that link and cast your vote.
Okay, thank you, Mariana. So if you can just click on the link, it will take you to the menti.com and you'll have the opportunity to cast your vote. So what we'd like to know is that thinking about today's VUCA world, which APA manifesto do you think is most important for the people operation function? So how would you rank that in order of priority? So what we have and what we've discussed is team of teams over traditional hierarchies, growth mindset over fixed mindset, coaching culture over command and control, and then trans-cultural competence over cultural competence. So if you could just click on the link, it will take you to the menti.com and then you can cast your votes. If you have any issues, please let us know so we can see how we can help you. So we've had our first vote. Thank you for that. So at the moment, we've got team of teams in the lead with growth mindset coming second, in transcultural competence, and then in fourth place, coaching culture and over command and control. Mariana, how many people do we have on the Menti? Sorry, I'm not able to see it.
We have 9.
9. Okay, thank you. So please join the Menti. If you are struggling, let us know. The more people we get involved, the better we can see our results and see what people think. So again, we want to know in today's VUCA world, what APF manifestos do you think is most important for the people ops function? So if you can rank them in the order of priority. What do you think, Mariana? Should we give it another minute?
Yes, we can give it another minute.
Okay, so please join. We can see team of teams is quite far ahead with command and culture. I mean, coaching culture and command and control at the bottom. Rutinder or Charissa, what do you guys think about the results of the Mentimeter? What does that say to you?
Nadia, Rutendo, would you like to go first?
It's okay, Carissa, you can go first.
No, please do. Please do.
Okay, so from the results, we're seeing that it seems like a team of teams is having a go with the growth mindset. And then transcultural competency is also, is in competition with coaching culture. So you'd find that it's teams of teams, I think, with growth mindset, I think is about to take over. Most probably, I think the incoming votes might be going for growth
Change
mindset.
it.
I'm a bit biased because I picked growth mindset as my
Yes.
first function. The reason being, you're living in a world that's continuously changing.
Yes.
So basically, as an individual, you have to grow, you have to develop, you have to work hard, and versus being continuously in a fixed position or a fixed view where you always try to say, this is what we do, this is what we have been doing, this was done.
Yes,
So
that's
my
we've
thinking
always
is,
been doing that.
yes, so my thinking is basically when you're living in a VUCA world, you have to have that growth mindset as a priority. I don't know,
Yes.
Carissa, if you're able to add.
We thinking alike, and that makes me smile. Retainer. Yeah, so with regards to both team of teams, all four of them, first of all, is extremely important. With
Yes.
regards to, agility within an organization and a human-centered approach. But for me as well, I feel the same. Growth mindset over fixed mindset to me comes first, in order for you to identify that a team of teams approach over traditional hierarchies is most important. But you already need to be in position or understand the concept of having a growth mindset in order for you to find value in that specific approach. So that was my thinking, and that's how I also went. But both of them are extremely close, and it's difficult to distinguish, with regards to that. But yeah, that's just my thinking, exactly along the same lines that you already mentioned, Retainer.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ritinda. Thank you, Charissa. I think, shall we move on, Mariana?
Yes, we'll move on to the presentation.
So just before we move on, sorry about that, Mariana. As you can see, growth mindset, as the ladies were telling us, it's a close call between team of teams over traditional hierarchies and growth mindset over fixed mindset. I do see we have a question in the chat box. If we can park that question to the end, would that be okay? Say more. We'll just park the question to the end. Yeah, we can move on. Thanks, Mariana. So now, when we talk about the Agile PeopleOps, we also want to discuss the values that we stand for. So all of us will agree that what are values? Values are fundamental beliefs that a person or organization have. A value helps us guide and know how to behave. It shows us what's right and wrong, and it points us in the right direction. So 6 core values that APF or Agile PeopleOps framework stand for is open communication, feedback, commitment, courage, respect, and adaptability. So when we talk about open communication, it's about fostering that environment where we want it to be transparent. We want people to trust each other. And it's important. That's what open communication helps us achieve. So open communication is is encouraging to share thoughts. We want our employees to feel that they can share their thoughts, they can share their concerns without any backlash. So, like I said, it helps us promote trust and transparency. And ways that we can do open communication is having those one-on-ones, having that feedback loop with our employees to try to figure out where are they, what are they experiencing, how are they experiencing the work environment, and what can we do to improve. Then, as you guys probably also know, feedback is just as important. All of us, in the world that we live in, people are continuously asking us for feedback. If we go into an online website, maybe we did some shopping, people will, or the site will ask us, please let us know about your feedback. If you've shopped at a store and they have your details, they'll send you emails, say, please let us know about your feedback. So feedback's important for us to drive that continuous improvement, to get better at what we do. And we want feedback from our employees, be it through a pulse survey, be it through those regular check-ins, be it through performance evaluations. That is how we drive the feedback. And what feedback helps us achieve is that it provides a well-rounded perspective on performance, and it fosters a continuous growth and development. That's what feedback helps us achieve. Then we've got commitment. So when we are committed, it's not just about being committed to the workplace, it's also about being committed to ourselves. But how do we show that we are committed to the workplace? So some of the ways that we can show it is by holding ourselves accountable for what we're doing or what we said we're going to do, understanding what are the goals that we want to achieve, striving for that excellence. This is what we do to hold ourselves. Sorry, I just want to close the chat box. This is what we do to hold ourselves or show that we have commitment in the workplace. But then on the other hand, how do we as HR or people ops professionals, how do we prove that we are committed to our employees? And I would say some of the ways that we can do that is by creating a positive working environment for our employees, by having clear, well thought out career paths for our employees, by giving our employees the opportunity to grow, to develop within our companies. And last but not least, when it comes to commitment, is that commitment to ourselves. So how do we show commitment to ourselves? It's all about, are we continuously learning? Are we setting personal goals for ourselves? Are we looking after our mental and physical health or well-being? And are we balancing that work-life balance that brings us joy in what we do? That is commitment. Then we have courage. So courage is being able to take that risk, or having the guts to take that risk. Have the guts to speak up when something is not right or something is not going the way it should be going. And when we foster an environment where our employees can be courageous, where they can come to us with issues, where they can tell us when they're not happy, we empower our employees. It also helps us, what it helps us do in our organization is we get a true reflection of what is happening on the ground. And it creates an environment where there's openness, where there's trust. So important to know that with courage, we want our employees to speak up about important matters, but ensure that they feel safe and that they understand that there won't be any backlash. Then our next value is respect. So that, if we think about respect is about how we treat each other. Are we treating each other with dignity, with kindness, with fairness? Are we respecting our workplace? Are we respecting each other? So what research has shown is that working and feeling respected by your fellow peers as well as by your line manager, feeling that your work is being respected, it leads to employees being more engaged. It shows, but what we also need to understand that leaders also need to model this behavior of respect. They also need to show that this is how we work. We work in respectable ways. And then our last, but not our least or lowest, not our least important, but also still important value that we have is all about being adaptable. So, if you think about HR, do we have a proactive approach to our policies, to our development, to our revision? Are we regularly reviewing and updating our policies and procedures? Are we ensuring that, if we are adaptable, we can ensure that the organization, the company remains agile, remains responsive to any external, internal changes? If you think about the pandemic again and how all of us had to become adaptable, right? We had to work with new technology. We had to embrace working from home. A lot of us, even the way that we work, what is this, 2 years after the pandemic, we still have a adaptable way of working. We work in a hybrid workforce with different technology to help us be successful. We work with different work schedules. So that's what it means to be adaptable in the workforce. So I think Mariana has another mentee here for us.
Yes. Give me a moment while I share my screen. Okay, I'll be pasting this link in the chat box. It is the same thing. You will have to open the link and cast your vote.
So what we'd like to know is, please click on the link and then you can cast your vote. What we'd like to know is, thinking about the APF values that we just discussed, which APF values do you think your organization follow? So if you guys or people can join the Menti by clicking on the link. If you do experience any difficulties, please let us know. What we would like to know is, which APF values does your organization follow? We've got some votes in, so in the lead now is feedback. We'll wait a little bit for more people to vote. Okay, so we've got open communication, feedback, and respect all ahead. And then after that, we've got commitment, then adaptability, and then last, we've got courage. Tamar, we will get to answering of questions in a minute. Towards the end of this session, we'll have a question and answer session. So let's just give it another minute. As you guys can see, we've got open communication, feedback, and respect ahead. Then we've got commitment, followed by adaptability, and then last, courage. Mariana, should we give it just one more minute?
Yes.
Okay, I think Retinder and Sharissa, what do you guys think about the outcome of the Mentimeter?
Sorry, Carissa, I'm first on this one.
Go, Retinder.
So basically, in terms of open communication, feedback, and respect, yeah, I feel like these are the values that are enshrined within an organization, be it big,
Yes.
small, it's a startup, you've been in business for a very long time. And I feel
Yes.
like these are the basics, when you when you're at work, even when you want to start your business, or even within any organization set up, be it in the community as well as anywhere. And commitment, I think it's something that grows with time. It's a bit biased depending on it's either what you're feeling right now, your views, what you feel the organization could have done for you. So I think
Yes.
this is a bit subjective. So sometimes then what happens is when you're in an organization, how you feel or your current attitude at the moment gets to affect your commitment. Then courage. I know this is a mammoth one, and I'd like to believe the reason why it actually scored low is because people. I think that's basic now. People are afraid to go out there. Number one, that's their view, and number two, you'd find that from the organization's perspective, in some instances, they do not give the platform, for employees to courageously act out. I'm not sure if it's
Yes.
coming out. They don't promote, that drive for people to come out of their shell and do something that is viewed as undoable, or that's viewed as the, outside the norm. Because basically, if you are going to war and you're a soldier, you have to build your courage for you to be able to
Yes.
fight that war. So if you're not
Almost.
given a platform, or if you've got other views, I'd like to believe
Yes.
that it will score, or you will score low on the courage side. So I'm
And I
going to
think
end here so that Carissa gets to talk about adaptability.
yes. I think just before we go over to Teresa, I think just with courage, it's also probably the environment, the work environment that we find ourselves in, that we don't,
Yes.
like you said, Retinder, we don't feel safe enough to act courageously,
Yes.
be open about things.
Yeah, we
Which,
don't have that psychological safety.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
exactly. Thank you, Teresa.
I don't have much to add to this specific conversation. Rotendo just said everything that needed to be said. I also just wanted to touch on courage, but now I have to speak on adaptability, but okay. Yeah, with regards to courage, also, I just would like to add that it also depends on the organizational structure, whether we find ourselves still within a very structured and hierarchical organization in the traditional sense. So the communication strategy and systems that are in place to facilitate upward communication, if that is working and is in place. So within an organization. And many of us, especially in Africa, we still have a very traditional approach with regards to the organizational structure and your role and where you fit in. So therefore, you don't feel comfortable, like Ritendo and you said, there's no safe space for you to take up your space, and be effective within your role. So we're still very scared to take up space and to believe that we are where we're supposed to be and we need to operate in that. With regards to that, adaptability, I think also it comes down to the type of organization that you find yourself in and how, with the level of authority that you have to operate in your space. So, if you have a position of authority and you have legitimate power to actually influence, the organizational culture to open it up to adaptability, I think that would change the whole perspective on the values and specifically adaptability as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ritinda and Teresa. Mariana, if you can take us back to the... Mariana, are you okay? Oh, there we go. Perfect. So thank you for taking time and completing the Mentimeet, everybody. So what will happen if we embrace this Agile PeopleOps framework? What is the value that we will experience? So one of the first things that we will see in our organization is that we'll see cross-functional collaboration. So people from different teams, different departments working together and solving problems and being innovative. What it will also mean is that we'll see more co-creation, so more solutions, more processes that will be put in place. Part of what will happen is if we embrace or accept this Agile PeopleOps framework, we will see a streamlined way of working, thinking about, eliminating all the waste or the delays that we might experience. So things becoming more streamlined, more value driven. So there'll be a shift to that more continuous improvement that we will experience, which leads us to the next one. Those regular cadences will take place when we evolve to that agility mindset. So with these regular cadences, we'll definitely see continuous improvement in how we work and how we create that employee experience and that employee well-being within our organizations. And then, which leads us then to that enhanced human-centered experience. Like we said earlier, if we embrace this agile way of working, this lean way of working, it's all about delivering value to the customer, right? And like I said earlier, the customer, that would be our employees, that would be our candidates. And we want them to experience the process, to experience the PeopleOps team in the PeopleOps team to create this more human-centered approach to how we do things. And what's important is that we as PeopleOps professionals, we need to become change agents within our industry, within our field, within our department to drive this, make this a reality. But like I said earlier, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that we have to work towards. It's something that we have to change behavior to translate into these actions. If you can go to the next slide. So this is the last slide that we're at. So like we discussed, with the upskilling from HR or moving away from this concept from HR or evolving HR to people operations, we find ourselves in the place where we've been elevated. But with this elevation, I would say there comes some responsibilities, some expectations of what we need to do, right? We need to be taken seriously as an HR function. But for us to be taken seriously, we need to exhibit skills and capabilities to drive the strategic goals of the business and create this human-centered approach. So thank you, everyone. That's it from my side. I saw that we have a few questions or 2 questions. I'm not sure if anyone else has some questions that you'd like to post. Please feel free to post it in the chat box. Mariana, are you able to share the questions?
Yes, okay, I'll let you know. The first question is, what high results have you achieved by applying this? I think they're talking about the principles maybe.
So what we have experienced, and I think, Ratinda and Charissa, please feel free to jump in as well. What we've experienced is that when we apply this, we become more agile. We're able to adapt quicker. And we also, by applying these values, by applying or living by this manifesto, we create a place where our employees are, like I said before, our customers. And the way that we operate, the processes we put in place is all about how do we make it a pleasant experience for our employees? How do we, and with that said, employees that feel respected, that will feel seen, they're more likely to be engaged with the organization. They're more likely to show productivity. They're more likely to stay longer. The turnover will also decrease. I'm not sure, Charissa or Ratinda, if you'd like to add something to that.
I'm okay from my side. I'm not so sure about Carissa.
I'm good as well, Nadia. You covered it.
Perfect. Then is there any other questions?
Yes, there is another question. What kind of differences are there between this mindset and the ordinary one?
So when we talk about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset, there's quite a lot of differences. But what I would say is that having a growth mindset is understanding that the abilities that you have and the skills that you have it doesn't end there. That through effort, through abilities, your intellectual skills to be better at what you do. Where if you have a fixed mindset, your approach is usually that you have done this before, you have seen this before. The way that you've been doing it has always been the best way. You're not open for new challenges. You're not open to grow, to stretch yourself. So what I would say is the difference between a growth mindset and an ordinary or fixed mindset. Anything else?
The next question that we have is, yes, we have another question. It is, what does it mean for cross-functional communication and collaboration?
Inchi, are you able to unmute yourself? I just want to understand that question a bit better. Inchi? Oh, you said it was on the last slide. I think just to add to that, you know, when we talk around open communication, it's all about creating that environment where employees can speak to their line managers, where they feel safe, where they know that they can give feedback to their line manager without the backlash, or without feeling like something's going to happen to them. And with open communication, we also create an environment where we as the leaders, we can get actual facts, we can understand what's happening on the ground, and will help us make better decisions on how we move forward. I hope that answered your question. Any other questions, Mariana?
Nothing as of now.
Okay, then that's it from my side. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
We have a suggestion from Catherine. Can we add empathy to the APF values?
We can definitely look at that, but I think when we talk around the human-centric approach, empathy is something that we embrace. It is something that we at APF feel very it's very important to us, the way that we show up, the way that we work with each other, the way that we work with our employees. Empathy is one of the things that, you know, if we can't understand the employee's experience if we don't put ourselves in the shoes of the employee experience. So even though empathy wasn't highlighted, it is something that we strongly believe in at APF, Agile PeopleOps Framework. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Nadia. It was a wonderful session, and I'm sure everyone in the audience agreed as well. I would like to thank you for enlightening all of us on the use of Agile PeopleOps Framework. Thank you. You will all receive a feedback form link in the chat box. I request you all to share your feedback. So what do we have next? We have an upcoming Coaching Communities of Practices event scheduled on June 12th. Join Sonam Gulati to discover how to cultivate resilience through personalized strategies, including the 7 C's and 3 P's frameworks, empowering you to recover from setbacks with confidence and strength. Catherine, I would request you to mute yourself. Thank you. To register for this event, kindly scan the QR code below or join using the link shared in the chat box. We have a post-webinar activity as mentioned by Nadia, a handout, which will be shared to all via email. We have our upcoming South Africa event scheduled on July 8th, so stay tuned for more details on that. To join our South Africa and Zimbabwe community groups, kindly scan the QR code below or join using the link shared in the chat box. Additionally, we have a community platform to collaborate and engage with other passionate individuals. Join using the link shared in the chat box. Thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate your time and participation, and we hope that you found today's session very informative and engaging. Stay tuned for more. We will be coming up with many more sessions for you to learn and grow with us. This recording of the session will be shared to all those who attended, and we will upload it to our Agile PeopleOps YouTube channel. Thank you all once again. Have a wonderful day ahead. With lots of gratitude, I'm Mariana, your host, will be signing off for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a great day.